Dreams really do come true. How my small hometown, Clayton, helped me achieve my dreams. By my mother, Charlene Wilkins Oliver. Published in Memories of Clayton, 2007, by the Clayton Genealogical Society. Clayton, Oklahoma is an area where, as former Oklahoma Congressman Carl Alberts once described it, the old age pensioners are the country club set. Most of the families at Clayton in the 30s and 40s were poor, but my family was among the poorest. As I was growing up, my biggest dream was to somehow earn a college degree and escape the poverty I had always known. Education, my father used to tell me, is the key to a better life. Make whatever sacrifices you have to make to get an education. No one can ever take that away from you. Then he added, if I am not still around, help the younger kids get as much schooling as possible. I promised him I would. My father, Charlie Wilkins, had gotten only a sixth-grade education himself. He worked as a WPA ditch digger and timekeeper, a service station attendant, a cream station operator, a clerk in a grocery store, and finally, for a short time, a part owner and manager of a small grocery store. He had bigger dreams for his children, though, and he wanted me, the oldest, to point the way for the rest. Unfortunately, my father did not have a chance to realize his dreams for his children. He died when I was 14, leaving a wife and 6 children, and a 7th one on the way. I immediately began working at a cafe more than 40 hours a week, before and after school and on weekends, to supplement my mother's welfare check. My dream of a college degree seemed more remote than ever, but I had not counted on the people of Clayton, especially Superintendent of Schools E.P. Haney and businessman Otis Amend, along with caring neighbors, teachers, and other friends. I was born in Sardis, Oklahoma, in May 1931. When I was 5, we moved to Clayton, where I started to school a year later. I was about 10 when we moved into what was to be our home the rest of the time we lived in Clayton. It was there that the last 3 of the 7 Wilkins children were born. Our home was not much more than a shack, but my father was proud of it, the first home he had ever owned. The house had 4 small rooms, one of which had been a porch. One of the 4 rooms was used as a kitchen, and the other 3 as bedrooms. My sister Barbara and I shared the room that had been a porch. The room had never been quite finished, and Barbara and I slept cold all winter, with icy winds whistling in through large cracks. The front bedroom, which contained the front entrance, was called the front room. In addition to the bed Mama and Daddy slept in, the front room contained a heater, always a baby crib, and a small couch. It was the closest thing to a living room we ever had. We had only 2 or 3 changes of clothes each. During the summer, we were not allowed to wear shoes except to church. We had to save our shoes for school the next year. I dreaded going back to school after the Christmas holidays, when the teacher would ask each child to tell the class what Santa had brought. At my house, it was always an orange, an apple, and nuts and candy in my stocking, and sometimes, if I were lucky, one small toy. We ate fried chicken for dinner on Sundays, after the chicken was caught and plucked. Except on Sundays, we seldom had meat. For dinner and supper the rest of the week, we ate pinto beans, fried potatoes, and cornbread, supplemented in the summer by fresh vegetables when Mama was not pregnant and felt like planting a garden. For breakfast, we always had biscuits and gravy. Like most other homes in Clayton, we had no running water nor indoor toilet. The water we used came from a well in the yard. We all drank from the same dipper. Until I was in high school, we had no electricity, using coal oil lamps for light. Few, if any, people had a telephone in the home. No one got a long-distance call except in case of emergency. Then the operator at the telephone office sent one of her kids all over town to fetch the person being called. There were few social activities in Clayton, except those relating to school and church. My parents never took part in school, but Mama took us to church and Sunday school regularly. On Saturday nights, sometimes neighbors would come over, and we would listen to the Grand Ole Opry while eating parched peanuts. Our reading material at home consisted of the Bible, Sunday school literature, and a weekly farm journal. My father was active in only one organization, the Masons. As far back as I can remember, Daddy wanted to be a member of the Masonic Lodge, but could never afford the few dollars the membership fee cost. Finally, Grandpa, who lived in Sardis, managed to save enough money to pay for the fee and ring. Daddy was very proud of being a Mason. When he died, he did not own a suit to be buried in, but that did not matter. He had a Masonic funeral, and he was rich in friends. People talked about the big turnout at his funeral for weeks afterward. Although I was ashamed of the house I lived in and my threadbare clothes, I was intensely proud of my family, especially my father, who had a reputation for being as honest as the day was long. My mother, an attractive woman with a sense of humor and she rarely displayed, was energetic and hard-working. She always insisted on thoroughness and cleanliness. Any job worth doing is worth doing well, she would say. Everyone can afford soap and water, was another one of Mama's maxims. Our home, though shabby, was always neat and clean. I was proud to be a Wilkins. As the firstborn, I spent a large portion of my growing up years doing housework and helping care for my 6 younger brothers and sisters. Although I loved my brothers and sisters dearly, I longed for more freedom to play and have fun like other children. I swore I would never get married and have kids of my own. Going to school was the highlight of my years at Clayton. Although during grade school I always had to miss 2 days a week to help with family washing and ironing, school was easy and a picnic compared to my home life. At recess, I got to go outside and play, just like other children, which I never got to do at home. School helped me in many ways. At home, my mother, who had a harsh childhood followed by an early marriage and a string of little children, expected her firstborn to be perfect. When I could not live up to her expectations, her constant criticism made me feel incompetent and inferior. At school, on the other hand, my teacher's praise made me feel good about myself. I loved to read, especially since I was born deaf in one ear. In stories, I did not have to worry about letters dropping off the beginning and the end of words, as they did when I heard people talk. Stories such as What Willpower Did for Me inspired me to think I could do anything if I persisted long enough. Working and going to school did not allow me much time for extracurricular activities. The only 2 things I took time for consistently were softball and basketball, which I loved. Participating in sports increased my self-confidence and helped me connect with other students. One thing that meant a lot to me my junior year was being elected, along with Charles Hutchinson, to lead the class ahead of mine in its graduation ceremony. I had never been particularly popular in school, so being selected from among all my classmates to help lead the senior class was an honor and a boost to my fragile ego. In high school, my special friend was Betty Donica. Betty was beautiful, intelligent, confident, and very popular. Her family was well educated, especially her mother, whose father was a doctor. Betty was a typical extrovert, while I was a typical introvert. Our backgrounds and personalities could not have been more different, yet somehow we became best friends. Betty was a godsend for my low self-esteem. Like my teachers, Martha Patrick and Mamie Deaton, she gave me megadoses of self-confidence. The summer before my senior year, I worked in a laundry in Oklahoma City. While I was gone, my family, which now included my stepfather, Kerry Snow, and his 3 children, moved to a farm in Texas where the large family could earn a living sharecropping. With no family back at Clayton, I decided to drop out of school temporarily, but I did not give up my dream of someday going to college. 2 months after school started, I had a surprise visit at the laundry from the superintendent and Mrs. Haney, who had made a special detour through Oklahoma City to talk to me about coming back to school. Mr. Haney offered me a job working as secretary to the veterans agriculture teacher. They offered to let me live with them and their son while I finished my senior year. I accepted the job offer, but decided to live alone in our old vacant house. Before the end of the school year, however, I moved in with neighbors Lidge and Helen Caldwell, who tried to convince me that I would be helping by living with them. When I graduated a few months later, I became the first member of my family to finish high school, or even grade school. I was trying to lead the way for my younger brothers and sisters, as Daddy had asked me to do. I did not go on our senior trip with my classmates. I could not spare the time or the money. Instead, I went back to my old laundry job in Oklahoma City. A few weeks later, I received a call at the laundry from the head of the accounting department in the Oklahoma Department of Highways. He said he needed a new file clerk and that a friend, Otis Amend of Clayton, had recommended me. A few times during my senior year, I had done some typing for Mr. Amend. He always praised my work, but his finding me a good job was a surprise. That first office job led to better office jobs that eventually included working as secretary to one of the vice presidents of Phillips Petroleum at Bartlesville, where I met my husband Gus, a process engineer with Phillips. My office work allowed me to pay for night classes and to save money to go to college full-time. My office jobs also allowed me to continue to send money home to help my younger brothers and sisters, to whom I kept preaching, stay in school. When I married, my husband joined me in my crusade to keep my younger siblings in school. These now numbered 10, with the addition of 4 little Snow sisters, the last 3 born in Texas. 8 years after graduating from high school, I got the college degree I had sought for so many years, but that was just the first step in fulfilling my goals relating to education. I still had a promise to keep. Finishing high school was even more difficult for my siblings than it had been for me. They had to change schools almost yearly as the family moved from farm to farm sharecropping. They missed a lot of school to work in the fields. Many dropped out temporarily, including my brother Wayland, the second-born, who later returned and encouraged the others to hang on. At long last, all 10 finished high school, most continuing beyond. My dreams had now come true. After getting my bachelor's in mathematics, I went on to obtain 2 masters. While teaching in high school and college, I tried to praise and encourage my students like my teachers had done for me. And yes, I finally did have kids of my own. Our daughter Susan, a computer consultant, is a perpetual student, like I used to be, who is working on her 4th college degree. Our son, Gus Jr., who got his degree in electrical engineering, has his own business, Gus Oliver Realtors. We have 3 grandchildren, ages 14, 12, and 4, who keep us hopping. We all live in Tulsa. I have been richly blessed over the years. Although I did not have much time for socializing during my growing up years in Clayton, I was happy there, and the friends I made in Clayton are still among my closest friends today. The Clayton homecoming each summer is one of my highlights of the year. One of my regrets in life is that I never told Superintendent Haney, Mr. Amend, my neighbors, my teachers, and my many other Clayton friends how much their help and encouragement meant to me and how much it increased my happiness and quality of life. According to an ancient African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. The people in my hometown, Clayton, played a crucial role in raising me and in making my dreams come true.